Well, you tuned in to, of course, this Thoughts video just an hour after my previous one that I did. Well, for starters, good for you, I guess. And I guess that means I'll have to talk about the second movie that I saw as part of my double feature. Well, I guess that makes sense, seeing how I do love double features, hands down. But I guess, give it to for the fact I have my glasses off, and with what you saw in the thumbnail. Yeah, I think it would signify, of course, what I'm actually in for, hands down, and I guess for starters, really? Really, Sony? What are you doing? No, I'm completely serious. What the fuck are you doing? I don't get it. I clearly don't get it, hands down. You have every opportunity to actually try and get one good one out in your so-called cinematic universe. And I guess aside from, of course, the Venom trilogy, which is fine enough on its own, you have the goal, the audacity, to try and do it again with playing the other Spider-Man characters. And well, you failed big time with Morbius twice in a row, which I guess still qualifies as strike one. Then you tried again with Madam Web, which I guess if anything is strike two. And now you're giving us this film, to which I'm happy to say, you've hit strike three and you are out of here. Oh my god. Okay then. I think you can pretty much get the full picture on, of course, what I'm actually in for, hands down. So yeah, if you may recall, in of course my previous thoughts video that I did on Lord of the Rings, The War of the Rohirrim, I got myself in for, of course, a double feature this time around, all thanks to the kind people at Crown City Cinemas, as always. Love you guys. So I guess it's after seeing that film, I guess I took the opportunity right afterwards to see another movie that came out around this weekend as we speak, and yeah, given to all that, we're jumping all the way back to a Sony right now, because they had just released pretty much their latest film in their quote-unquote cinematic universe, devoted to every single villain in the Spider-Man series, hands down. Yeah. Quite surprising that we've actually got 3 films pretty much that's a series for this year, hands down, aside from one every few years, hands down. And I guess aside from Venom: The Last Dance, which I guess is alright, this movie, on the other hand, I think you can pretty much put 2 and 2 together on what I'm talking about. And if you have seen my hint, and of course the last thoughts video that I did, then I think it will give you the idea of what I'm talking about here today. So yeah, I guess it's about time that we finally talk about this, folks. We might as well get ourselves in for one hell of a ride with today's movie I'm going to be talking about here today, which is none other than Kraven the Hunter. So yeah, that's of course what I'm going to be talking about here today. It's not only the latest film that just came out not too long ago, but it's also based around pretty much, you guessed it, another lesser known Spider-Man villain for sure. So yeah, that's pretty much what I can say, of course, that front. Alright. Alright, so before I can go ahead and talk about this latest movie, I think think it makes sense for me to talk about, well, Kraven the Hunter in a nutshell. So yeah, I guess honestly to me, I don't know anything much about Kraven the Hunter for sure. I do know he's probably, I think, one of those lesser-known Spider-Man villains that we all know and love for sure. Though, granted, I think he's probably a little bit more overshadowed by some well-known Spider-Man villains that we've been getting hands down for sure. But I guess if anything, as someone who actually doesn't know anything about the character for sure, I really do think, I guess if anything, I never really got into, of course, pretty much anything associated with him in anything Spider-Man related, whether it be the TV shows or even the original comic books, hands down. So yeah, I guess if anything, I do know he does pop up here and there every once in a while for sure, but other than that, I don't know anything much about the character from what I can gather. Pretty much, let alone his backstory, or even his interactions with Spider-Man in a nutshell for sure. So yeah, I think it's pretty much what I can say about my knowledge about Kraven the Hunter for sure. But I do find his design in the original comic books to be actually quite interesting for sure, and I really do love what they were actually going for with, of course, this character, hands down. Pretty much having a connection with animals to hunt down his prey is actually really quite interesting, and I really do think the original comic book character actually has a lot going for hands down. So, but I guess it's what I can say, of course, that front. So when I heard the news that they were going to be doing a movie, of course, this character, I got myself quite curious to see how they're going to pull it off for sure. Though I did have some massive doubt, seeing how it's coming out of Sony's own cinematic universe devoted to every single Spider-Man villain for sure. And probably going through the same route as, of course, what we got in the Venom movies, hands down. But I guess it's pretty much what I can say, of course, that front. So I was a little cautiously optimistic going into, of course, this one, and I wasn't sure on how it will work, hands down. But what got me intrigued is, of course, they decided to go for a bit of an pretty much go through a route that would actually give the film an R rating, hands down, to which, honestly, that does sound like a pretty good idea. An R-rated Kraven the Hunter movie actually does have a lot of possibilities. I do think you can actually do something great with, of course, this one for sure. But I think it's what I can say pretty much to the idea, of course, that front, because when I saw the trailers, honestly, I was feeling very doubtful, of course, that one, and I really don't think the film will actually be good, hands down, once it actually comes out. And plus, not to mention, this film has been delayed quite a few times, actually. Probably, I guess, the past couple of times from what I can remember is that it was delayed the first time due to the writers and actors strike right around last year. And not to mention, it even got delayed to where we are right now, mainly because of, well, Madam Web bombing big time, which, honestly, is not that big of a surprise, hands down, so. But regardless on that, I still want to go into this to see on how they're gonna pull that one off for sure. So yeah, I did manage to get myself in to see this film as part of my double feature that I did when I was at Crown City Cinemas, and well, now that I've officially got off, of course, seeing it, what do I think of this movie now that I actually got off seeing it? Well, what did you think my reaction was gonna be? And I guess if you have seen the beginning of this video, I think it would pretty much sum up on what I thought about this movie. But in case you don't, yep, I guess I was right, of course, and of course what I have to say on this one, this movie is just terrible. Just god-awful, lazy, just all around terrible. Yeah, I think it's what I can say. Of course, that front, hands down. I really couldn't stand this movie for what it is, and I know I'm gonna be harsh for saying it, but trust me, I have every right to say this. This movie actually deserves to joining on the reins of course, Morbius and Madam Web in a nutshell, for sure. It's that bad, people, and yeah, by all means, it doesn't deserve to be made in the first place. I really don't think this film has enough staying power to actually be made into what it is right now. It's that bad, people. Just by all means, terrible. I'm sorry for repeating myself, but it's the truth. It's really the truth, hands down, and moreover, to say this movie is terrible is not just my opinion, it's a downright fact, for sure. Yeah, I'm dead serious on that front, so yeah, it's pretty much what I can say, of course, that front. Alright, so now that I've actually got the short version out of the way, I guess I'll go ahead and talk about everything that I need to talk about with, of course, this film. For starters, is, of course, the story, and yeah, I think from what I've actually seen story-wise, yeah, I think it's actually poorly executing, hands down. I think it actually gave us a very lackluster story that I couldn't actually get myself into, hands down, and not to mention, I think it actually left me feeling confusing yet bored at the same time, hands down. Like, I have no idea on what was going on throughout the course of this movie, hands down, and not to mention some areas I do kind of felt were placed out of order, hands down. Like, I couldn't put the puzzle pieces together on everything that goes on, for sure. To which the film is actually saying, oh, this is actually supposed to happen, hands down. And I was like, is it? Because I don't really follow through on what's going on, hands down. So yeah, I guess if anything, story-wise, from what I can gather, it's very lackluster, for sure. I don't follow through on what goes on, hands down. And I guess for the writing, I have to say, yeah, I guess for writing-wise, yeah, that too I will have to say is actually done poorly from what I'm actually seeing. I think literally from what I'm actually seeing writing-wise, it's almost like pretty much they just went with, of course, what they have written down, and they haven't even gave a single rewrite, hands down, or a single note on how they can actually improve it, hands down, and yeah, I really do think it's actually poorly written out from what I can gather, and I really do think it's very lackluster to say the least, for sure. So yeah, I think it's pretty much what I can say for the story and the writing, for sure. I really didn't think they had enough good ideas to make this one work, hands down, and I guess through some poor execution from what I can gather, it really does show, hands down. So yeah, it's pretty much what I can say, of course, that front. Alright, so now that I've actually got those two out of the way, I guess I'll go ahead and talk about the next couple of things I need to talk about. For starters is, of course, the characters, and honestly, to me, I really do think the characters in, of course, this movie, yeah, I don't follow through on what goes on. None of them have actually been given some really great development, hands down, for me to actually get investing on, of course, all of them, let alone do something that'll make them likable and interesting, for sure, and for that, I really don't care one bit about the characters, hands down, right to the point where I actually say that I really don't follow through on, of course, each and every single one of them, hands down. So yeah, I think it's pretty much what I could say for the characters, hands down. Now, as for the actors that came on board to play all these characters, yeah, I think, to me, I really do think the actors, yeah, I have no idea what they were thinking when they signed on board to actually do this movie, hands down, for sure. I think think each and every single one of them have actually giving off some pretty lackluster performances, hands down, and I really don't buy into their investment for their acting, hands down, and of course some of them range from bad to just standard at best. Well, except for two that I can say are a couple of exceptions that I can make that I really do think shine through, hands down, like of course Aaron Taylor Johnson actually does well as, of course, Kraven the Hunter. I think he is trying his best to give off a good performance, which I really do admire for sure. I know the guy has actually done some good stuff in the past for sure, and I can tell he's actually trying, and Ariana DeBose as a Calypso, I do think she actually also gave off a good performance despite the lackluster script that has been giving a hands down. And again, I have seen her in plenty of good stuff in the past for sure, and I do admire for the fact that she was trying for sure. While for the rest of the actors, hands down, yeah, I think if anything, yeah, they really gave off some pretty piss-poor performances, hands down. I mean, seriously, what were you guys thinking for signing on board for this one? I'm looking at you, Russell Crowe. I have no idea what you were thinking when you actually signed on board to do this movie as well, So yeah, I think it's pretty much what I can say for the characters and the actors for sure. The characters are not giving much development to make them likable and interesting for sure, and the actors, except for Aaron Taylor Johnson and Ariana DeBose, actually gave off some really poor performances, hands down. So yeah, it's pretty much what I can say, of course, that front. Alright, so yeah, now that I've got those two out of the way, what else is there for me to talk about? Oh, I've got a lot to say about this one for sure. For starters, the action in this film, yeah, I guess if anything, if there's one crime that you can actually make with a bad superhero movie, it's actually having some really poor action for sure, and this movie is no exception to that, hands down. I really do think the action in this film is very lackluster and way too cluttered up from what I can gather for sure. Like, I don't even know what was going on while they were actually shooting all these scenes, hands down, and even when something action-packed actually does show up, they actually had a lot going on that I just couldn't make out. Of course, everything that goes on for sure, not one single fight scene from what I can gather has really got me intrigued on, of course, everything that happens for sure, almost to the point where I was, of course, wildly confused, or, of course, I was left looking at the time on my phone, or even yawning on how boring the action is for sure. It's really that bad, hands down, and not to mention the pacing from what I can gather is way too all over the place, hands down, and I really don't think there's enough breathing room to really establish on everything that goes on for sure, and yeah, I guess from what I've actually seen, I think they could have slowed down a whole lot, hands down, but I guess if anything, I really do think the pacing in this film is really done poorly, hands down, and even the atmosphere from what I can gather is not really that engaging from what I can gather, so yeah. I guess with, of course, what I'm actually seeing, since I know they actually do want to giving a hard R rating, hands down, pretty much they did want to pretty much push out the amount of blood and gory imagery they need to show off, to which, honestly, to me, for a, I guess if you want to show that in an R-rated superhero flick, hands down, i.e. the Deadpool movies, for example, I think you could actually pull off something great, but I guess the amount of blood and gore that we've actually got, of course, Kraven the Hunter, Yeah, it's actually not really that impressive for sure. Right to the point that I don't really think it's actually worth the R rating, hands down. And I guess whenever someone gets killed off for sure, pretty much during the action scenes for sure, and they actually get killed and they showed off the blood, I almost kind of felt some of them are a little bored, and of course on what they actually did, almost like they were actually thinking to themselves, ow, I guess. So, but yeah, I guess either way, I really do think the atmosphere could use a whole lot more work, hands down, because it's actually very poorly showcasing, of course, this film. Now, for the visuals and the effects, hands down, well, honestly, to me, they're not all bad. I think some of them I kind of thought were ridiculous, hands down, but others, I actually do thought they were actually quite convincing, hands down. Okay, not fully from what I can gather, but still fine enough regardless, so yeah, that's pretty much what I can say, of course, that front. Now, for the direction this film from the film's director, yeah, that too I kind of thought was, of course, poorly done. I really do think the direction of this film is actually very poorly done from what I can gather, and I really do think the film's director could have used a whole lot more work to make this, could have used a whole lot more effort to make this work, but no, clearly doesn't happen, of course, this one for sure. And of course, the cinematography in this film is actually shot poorly with some really, really bad camera shots from what I can gather. And of course, the editing is, of course, kind of also very poorly, hands down, right to the point where it actually, some cuts have actually gone by so fast that I couldn't make out everything that goes on for sure, So yeah, I think it's pretty much everything I can say for, of course, this movie for sure. I could go on and on about it, hands down, but it's what I can say, of course, that front, so yeah. Alright. So yeah, I guess with everything that I have to say, it's pretty much what I can say about this movie in a nutshell. So, overall, God, this movie was terrible. And yeah, given to, of course, what I've actually said, I think it actually does show, hands down. So yeah, overall, Kraven the Hunter is nothing more but a sloppy, unfocused, terrible movie from what I'm actually seeing. I never thought it would come to this, hands down, but they really shot themselves in the foot with, of course, this one. Everything from what I'm actually seeing by far, this movie really is nothing to write home about, and I really do think they really showcase everything that's wrong, of course, this one for sure, and from what I'm actually seeing, I think it actually does result in a very, very complex and yet very uninspiring movie in a nutshell for sure. And yeah, I guess with everything they've actually done wrong with, of course, this one, I knew this movie, yeah, I think I knew this movie would be bad, of course, that front. But I didn't expect it to be this bad, hands down. And you know what? I think it's well deserving of that, hands down. I think this movie is pretty much deserves a spot alongside Morbius and Madam Web for sure, as being one of the pretty much the terrible movies we got in Sony's own cinematic universe devoted to every single Spider-Man villain, hands down. And I know that's back a whole lot because the only things that I actually find memorable about that cinematic universe is definitely all three Venom movies, hands down, and, well, trust me, I'd much rather rewatch all three of those Venom movies that we've got for sure, rather than seeing more, of course, Morbius, Madam Web, and this film for sure, So yeah, my biggest advice when it comes to Kraven the Hunter, don't see this movie in a nutshell because you're not going to get a whole lot, hands down, and I guess given to what I've actually heard as of now, I think if anything, it deserves its reputation as of now. It's stupid, it's repetitive, it's bland, it's forgettable, it's lame, and moreover, it is the final nail in the coffin that officially killed Sony's cinematic universe devoted to every single villain in, of course, well, Spider-Man in a nutshell, for sure. So yeah, that's pretty much what I can say, of course, that front, hands down. It's just by all means, yeah, I don't need to explain anymore. It's that terrible, people, and I'm not gonna stand by it, hands down. So yeah, and I guess if anything, for my final score, yes, folks, I'm about to give this movie exactly what it deserves, hands down, and I'm officially giving Kraven the Hunter a 2 out of 10 as my final score. Yeah, everything they actually did is just by all means bad for what it is, and it's definitely on their hands down. And yeah, my biggest advice: don't see this movie for sure, because you're not gonna get a whole lot hands down. And I guess for what it is, I guess it's after what we've actually got with, of course, this film. I do hear the news that Sony is officially pretty much killing off their cinematic universe devoted to every single villain in the Spider-Man series, and honestly, to me, I think it's for the best, hands down, because I think with, of course, pretty much the failure of not just this, but also Morbius and Madam Web, I think it is definitely the straw that broke the camel's back, hands down, and I guess for what it is, maybe I do think it's for the best, hands down, for sure, and yeah, maybe I think it's a good call for Sony to say that they're no longer going to be making any more films in this series, hands down. And I do hear that they are going to be releasing a full-on TV show devoted to Spider Noir, or Spider-Man Noir, with Nicolas Cage in the title role, and I'll be quite curious to see on how that'll go, hands down, for sure. So yeah, maybe I guess if anything, if that actually does well, maybe Sony might reevaluate and try to do something different to still try and make it work, hands down, and try to do something similar to that. But we'll have to wait and see, of course, on that front. But for now, I think if anything, I think it's officially a time that we say goodbye to Sony's Spider-Man universe, which I know for sure is definitely for the best, hands down, for sure. And yeah, like I said, when it comes to Kraven the Hunter, don't even take your time to actually see this one, hands down, because if anything, this movie is terrible. And I do think it's actually one name that should be crossed off of Kraven's list in a nutshell, for sure, because if anything, Kraven the Hunter usually pretty much hunts down its prey, hands down. But I think it looks like this movie is already, I guess it is a good example to show that the hunter has become the hunted. And I definitely do think that's for the best, so yeah, it's pretty much what I can say, of course, that front. Alright. Alright, so I guess with all that said and done, that's pretty much everything that I can say about this film. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching this latest thoughts video, and by all means, I want to ask all of you guys, what do you think of Kraven the Hunter, if you've actually seen it? And pray to God, if you actually survived through it or not. So yeah, do you absolutely really enjoy it and think it's a action-packed, bloody, gory time for sure? Or are you like me and you thought this movie is by all means terrible, and I think it's time that Sony actually stops their cinematic universe altogether? Or are you somewhere in between where you think it's alright? So yeah, let me know what you thought of this movie down in the comments down below. I would love to know on what you guys think. So yeah, that's pretty much what I can say, of course, that front. Thank you guys so much for watching this latest thoughts video, and well, now that I've officially got that double feature out of the way, well, I guess it seems like for next weekend, I've already got another one planned out, hands down, for sure. So yeah, I guess if anything, I know I did mention this, and of course on my other videos, for sure. But it looks like for the next double feature that I'll do, I've actually hinted that I would actually talk about those two. And it looks like it might actually happen pretty soon, so yeah. I guess tune in next time, somewhere around next weekend or so, where I officially go for another double feature talking about two movies that I'm really looking forward to seeing and hopefully give out my thoughts, hands down, which is of course round 3 of a talking blue hedgehog we all know and love with obviously Sonic the Hedgehog 3. And of course, going for another round of the Disney live-action remakes with Mufasa the Lion King. So yeah, and I do know a lot of people are actually saying really great things about Nosferatu that's coming out later this month. So obviously, I don't have plans to actually see as we speak, but unless you guys want me to, I'll hopefully cram that in as a last-minute addition for of course this month, or maybe I'll wait until January to finally check it out for sure, but we'll definitely have to wait and see on that. But until then, thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Special thanks to all of my supporters on Patreon for making today's video possible, including my top tier supporters for this month, VD. So if you want to be like these guys and show your support to us, then go to patreon.com/Ackleyattack427TV to pledge now, do so, and get some awesome rewards within your budget. Hey guys, this is Ackleyattack4427 here. Thank you all so much for watching today's video. Feel free to like, comment, and share if you enjoy what you're seeing. If you like what you see here and want to see more videos coming up, then go ahead and hit that subscribe button and switch on the notification bell to get notifications and select all notifications to be notified for when we post a new video. And don't forget to switch on notifications on your phone as well. Also, don't forget to check out my second channel and our 2-member channel with Sam the Thomas Fan 1, SamAttack4427’s Productions for plenty more content you can't find on here. You can check both of our channels out with the links or by our handles provided on screen. Feel free to shoot me an email with my email address provided, backley95@hotmail.com, if you want to ask me a question, want to collab with me for a project you've got in the works, or if you want to book me to be featured for a convention coming up. Follow me on my social media pages on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram to keep up to date with me on updates, announcements, and new releases of my videos, as well as plenty of others I've got with my handles provided, as well as the links down in the description box below. Also, don't forget to follow me on TikTok for other videos I've got aside from the ones I've posted on YouTube, and on Twitch for any future live streams I've got coming up soon, as well as join our official Discord server to see what we've provided. If you wish to show your support to me, then feel free to check out my Patreon to get sneak peeks of my videos coming up before they go up online, as well as getting access to updates and playing more in addition to getting some awesome rewards within your budget. Also, don't forget to check out and show your support to me on my wishlist on Amazon, and even supporting me at streamlabs.com/AckleyattackTV/tip that you can find in the description box below, as well as on my Twitch page. And in case you can't find any of the links that are provided, then not to worry about a thing. All the links and stuff are also provided on my link tree that you can also find in the description box below, as well as a few selected number of my social media pages. Other than that, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll be sure to see you in the next video. Take care.